Hello, just a quick word about motivation. It's something that people have inside them. So if you're motivated, I don't know, to get a new job, for example, and you're unemployed for a long time and you look at this job and you think, God, yeah, I really want that job. So you put everything into it. Obviously, if you don't get the job, then it can be quite disappointing, and that can damage your motivation for next time. The successful people don't let that affect them. Obviously, they will dwell on it for a second because it is disappointing. I know many times I've gone for a job and I didn't get it. And I think, well, why didn't I get that job? And then when you analyse it in depth, you'll find that you have actually got a reason for not wanting the job in the first place. For example, maybe the hours are not what you expected, or maybe the job itself is not what you expected, or maybe the money, or maybe just that you didn't like the job in the first place. You just thought it was a good idea. And I've had those sort of ideas. I think, yeah, I'll apply for that. And then when you go for the interview, you think, no, this is not for me. Obviously, that's slightly different to getting a rejection. Rejections are quite severe on the emotions, because you wonder, is it something that I've done? Is it my face? Is it something I said? And you self-doubt. And this is the biggest damaging element of motivation. And let me just tell you that I spent 8 years unemployed after my first job, which lasted for a year. I was working in this factory sort of warehouse on the middle of a aerodrome, and we stored supermarket goods. I was happy to be made redundant because of the relationship we had with the other staff there. I really got to a point where I didn't feel like I wanted to go into work anymore. It was an attitude, and they weren't helping me. And obviously we have to work as a team. Teamwork is important. And also, as my motivation dropped, it sort of made me feel like, well, what's the point of working? Of course, then when I spent 8 years unemployed, I just could not get a job, even though I actually wanted one. It was 8 years later that I finally found my motivation again, and I applied for these jobs and I got one. Quite literally, I had no experience of doing the job. I had been spent a summer learning how to write programs on my Spectrum, ZX Spectrum, and I got a job writing programs for IBM PC for a factory, and the programs were to be used for quality assurance. So like recording data and analysing data. I was self-taught, and over the course of 5 years I worked there, I developed many programs that one of them even went to China in the factory there. So I'm quite famous. I don't know if it's still working, maybe it's not. Of course, from there, when you have a job, it's a little bit easier to get another job because you can use your experience, and your motivation is something that you need to apply to it to ensure that you are successful. Just think of the times when you said you're going to do something and then you haven't really got the motivation for it. What happens? It doesn't happen, does it? You fail. Basically, it's something that you said you do and it didn't work out. Successful, motivated people will say, I'm going to do something, and then they will do everything to keep that motivation going until the end. That is the hard part. I think that's what I think life coaching people are trying to do, trying to ensure that you are continuously motivated, that you don't let it come to a point of doubting your ability, because success, it will happen if you put everything into it. And certainly with all of the jobs I've had over the years, they've all been down to the interview. And certainly I got an interview for a job for the Short Trust purely based on what I wrote on my application form. They told me that because they were very impressed with the application form. Of course, the interview was okay. At the end of it, I thought, yeah, maybe or maybe not. But luckily, I got it. And the next 5 years, I actually spent helping people, helping ex-drug addicts back into work. And not bragging, but as part of my team, I had probably the most outcomes. That some people will probably dispute that, but you can't argue with the data. The other people, the clients, they had less motivation. And certainly when you have a client that tells you that they're going to do something and then they don't do it, you sort of have to work around that and find other ways that they can achieve what they want. And certainly a lot of people achieved a lot of stuff. Another guy wanted to get involved with tree surgery, so we funded some training courses, and he was very much interested in succeeding with a little bit of motivation, and eventually he became his own boss and was doing tree surgery. And with that motivation, I probably would be sat in a corner, especially when the DWP Job Centre disability guy said to me, well, he said to my mum, just don't worry about a job, just go home and claim benefits. He's not going to be able to work, quite literally. And that was quite shocking, really. At the age of 17, being told that you are fit for nothing and you'll never achieve anything. As you know from my story, you can read it on andywrightonline.co.uk. You can see that my history, I don't let things stand in my way. If I want to achieve something, then I will go out and achieve it. And certainly achieving a black belt in martial arts, which is an able-bodied sport discipline, is something that I'm very proud of. And it wasn't for the sake of other instructors being horrific. And certainly on the grading day, I had this particular instructor, who was a third or fourth dan at the time, come up to me. He was local to me. He came up and said, you didn't deserve that. Yeah, you heard me right. He said, you did not deserve that. After I'd just been given my black belt. Horrific. Anybody else, they would have probably gone into a spiral of depression. But not me. I didn't give a shit what he thought, because his attitude, his opinion, means nothing to me. Anyway, that's it today on motivation. And don't forget, if you want to contact me, then please do. Have a look at andywrightonline.co.uk, where you can find details of life coaching and other things that I do. That's it from me. Have a good day.